is my birthday tomorrow, so I wanted to keep up the tradition that I started last year and do a video sharing my entire Disney pin collection. I'm turning 28 tomorrow, and yes, thank you, I'm well aware I look younger than my age, but I have a lot more than 28 pins to share today. At the beginning of this year, I made a video where I counted every single pin that I had in my Disney pin collection, and since then I've kept an updated tabulated count. So in total, I have 1,184 total pins. 95 of those are fantasy pins, and 1,089 are authentic Disney pins. The setup I have of my pin boards is pretty similar to my video last year, except there are more pin boards and more pins on all of the boards. And again, since there are so many pins, well over 1,000, this is going to be kind of more of a general overview tour. If you have a question about a specific pin, you can put that timestamp in the description, and then it can help answer that. But hopefully this will be a fun little tour looking at my entire Disney pin collection updated as of 2020. I'm going to start off by just doing a kind of full panning overview of all of the cork boards that I have here on my walls. They do pretty much take up this entire back wall of my office. And a lot of these boards are definitely filling up quite a bit, so either I'll have to get more boards or bigger boards, but definitely a lot more on this back wall than when I first moved in here. I'm going to start on this end and work my way from left to right. This medium-sized board has a lot of my Pixar pins. So up at top I have some general Pixar and then others kind of like very small few pin collections of Pixar pins. I'm collecting the quarterly release of Lamplight Lounge pins from Disneyland, so I'm just waiting for the fourth and final pin in that set to come out. I have a small little collection of pins from Up right here. And then below that I have pins featuring Toy Story. So I have a lot of focus on just kind of primarily the first Toy Story movie. And I've got my cute little Alien Remix Buzz and Woody there. And then the bottom part of my board is all of my Coco pins. So I have a pretty recent pin collection video where I showed all of the pins in this collection. I also did an unboxing video of those new mystery pins in the center there. But I do have a new pin in this collection, and this is the Feliz Navidad pin featuring Hector and Miguel. I love this because it doesn't have a dated year on it. I love the color scheme of this. So this is going to stay on my Coco board year round, but then I'll probably also pull it to my Christmas pins coming soon. On a small pin board next to that, I have the 2019 limited edition monthly series. So I collected the Crests of the Kingdom set from Disneyland, and then the pin trading pop-ups, which were a shared release. Both of these pin sets are hinged pins, so you have some extra fun artwork inside there, and then you open these guys up and they're like little books inside. I really love the Crests of the Kingdom, but I've almost been debating lately whether I want to hang on to the pin trading pop-ups or maybe try and sell or trade that set. I don't often go for series or like just general movie pins, so I like this attraction geared set much more. I'll have to decide on those later. Then moving above that, we have one of these very large pin boards, which has my Zootopia pin collection and my Goofy movie pin collection. So we'll just do a little bit of a slow pan and overview of these Zootopia pins. A lot of them I've shown in other videos or other collection videos. What I do love is that I currently have the full set of Zootopia Pin Trader Delight pins. They look so cool all together. Then there are like such awesome pin sets from Shanghai. I do have the majority of Zootopia pins that are in existence, but I am definitely not a completist. That's not really something that I can afford on my kind of budget. And also, I do like getting Zootopia pins when I can, but sometimes the artwork can be a little bit repetitive, so I don't always feel the need to like get every single thing. But I'm just such a big fan of the Zootopia movie. I'm also super excited for the Zootopia themed land that's going to be opening at Shanghai Disneyland. I know there's going to be even a whole bunch more Zootopia pins coming out there, so that'll make it a little bit difficult to collect things, but it'll certainly be exciting. At least one little note, this is the most recent pin in my Zootopia collection. It was just released at Disneyland, part of the Disney Sense Scratch and Sniff pin, and it has little Finnick with a cherry popsicle. So cute. Really happy I was able to trade for that. And then we have just kind of this very final bottom row of all my Zootopia pins. Again, this is a lot of pins. Last year I did do a full video going over this collection, so there are definitely some more new pins, but I feel like they've kind of slowed down a little bit on Zootopia releases over the last year, so it's made things a little bit easier to collect. But it is now taking up the majority of this pin board. Now, what I'm really excited about is that I've been able to add quite a lot of pins to my little Goofy Movie pin collection this year. They used to have so few Goofy Movie pins, and they've really been coming out with a good number more this year. Also because this year was the film's 25th anniversary. I did a collection video earlier this year, but I know I got this pin after it. This is a limited edition Loungefly pin. It's really awesome and large, has a little slider there. Then this was a Halloween pin release, the most adorable Max as Powerline and Roxanne pin. And then I just got this pin in the mail the other day. This is a WDI LE250 pin commemorating Goofy Movie's 25th anniversary. And this is also really nice and large. I love that. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to add more and more pins to my Goofy Movie set. Time to now stand on a stool for these higher up pin boards. This next board above has my Emperor's New Groove pins, Wall-E pins, and then Rescuers. I absolutely love collecting Emperor's New Groove pins. In this collection, there's definitely some of my kind of more really hard-hitting Grail pins. It's a movie that's definitely kind of been starting to be celebrated a little bit more. You kind of see more and more pins themed to Emperor's New Groove. So the nice thing about that is a lot of these pins are really cool and unique. They're not as repetitive as, say, some of the Zootopia pins and designs are. I do have a good mix of authentic pins and fantasy pins in this collection. And what I love to collect the most is Yzma in her kitty cat form. That is just my absolute favorite thing. I sort of had this collection organized by characters. You can see I got kind of mainly Yzma up there, but then kind of more and more pins come in, and then it's harder to keep up with that organization. But then I just recently got these pins in. These are for the Emperor's New Groove 20th anniversary. They were a limited edition release from Shop Disney, way overpriced, but I'm such a big Emperor's New Groove collector, I had to get them. But there's one other pin that came in that set that I can't even display on my pin board, because look at this. It has a pin post, but then it also has this full solid base. Like, you can't do anything with that, so I just have to keep this sat up on the top of my pin board. But like, why is this even a pin? Why was this designed like that? I'm probably gonna need to figure out more space for my Emperor's New Groove pins, or at least I might have to kind of boot Rescuers to another pin board, because I know they preview that they're coming out with more pins for the movie's 20th anniversary, which I am so extremely excited to get and add to my super cool Emperor's New Groove collection. Then next to that, we have my Wall-E pin collection. Wall-E is probably my favorite Pixar movie, but I find it's kind of hard to collect Wall-E pins just because of the characters. The artwork and the designs can be quite similar, and they also don't super frequently release Wall-E pins. But I'm pretty happy with the collection that I've been able to amass. There are some older, more rare Wall-E pins that they're just too expensive and quite hard to find. So these all come from a variety of different sources here. At least I know, I think this is my newest Wall-E pin. I got the Tiny Pet set, which was released at Fairy Tales last year. That might be only an LE of like 300 or 250, but I love my Wall-E and Eve fig pins. Those are also pretty recent. They're huge and just gorgeous. And so yeah, just a nice kind of little assortment from various sources of Wall-E and mainly Eve. Then at the very top here, we have my little Rescuers pin collection, also kind of focusing on Madame Medusa with this one. So this is definitely not among my biggest collections, but this also does have some pretty awesome heavy-hitting pins in it. I have been able to get a few of the PTDs as of late. And then I think the most recent pin I got is this movie anniversary for the 30th anniversary of Rescuers Down Under. Then on top of this, I have this smaller board which houses all of my Frozen pins. So I do like Frozen, but I'm kind of particular about the pins that I like to collect and that I have. I do have some kind of mirrored sets of Anna and Elsa. This Olaf pin is actually a really cool rare WDI pin set. I think my most recent one is the Arendelle pin from the Castle collection. That is also huge. You can see the pin in the center is really big. So I don't really kind of actively collect Frozen pins, but if there's ones that are kind of extra interesting or at a good enough price, I occasionally like to add them. Now, I do not have this board hung up, but this is, I guess, still part of my pin collection. This is my real versus fake of some of the most commonly faked sets of hidden Mickey pins. So the authentic version is on the left of all these pairs. I did a huge video kind of going through all of the super detailed differences of these. And there's something really satisfying about having a lovely authentic pin when it has so frequently been faked. Right over the center of my desk, I have my LE75 framed set from the Museum of Pintiquities pin. I've shown this countless times in videos, mainly because it has the Mickey Mouse holding a geode pin. So it's just like the most perfect thing possible for me. I would really like to find another one of those Mickey pins that I can wear for my PhD defense this spring, but otherwise I might have to crack open this frame set and take it out. But I've had this one for quite a long time. Then our main center pin board is all focused on attractions and the parks. So I've got Splash on the left side, Disneyland at the bottom, kind of mixing up to Disney World at top, and then Tower of Terror on the right side. So I still do have a number of Splash Mountain pins that I'm at least keeping for now. There are a number that I did take out of my collection because they basically just feature the Brer characters, which I've never been super fond of, and also they are characters that really should kind of be removed. I found it to be very strange that Disney is still this year coming out with more new pins that feature the Brer characters on them. But what I love are kind of the ride-specific pins. Like, I love the attraction itself and the Fab Five. And then I also have to point out this amazing fantasy pin from Enchanted Thoughts Club. We've got Tiana on the ride. It sounds like Disney is trying to fast-track the retheming of it. So I'll be excited to see that progress come along. Then at the base here, I mainly have a lot of Disneyland focus and theme pins. I really love to collect things that are kind of like classic Disneyland and the castle. Got a little collection of year anniversaries, love piece of histories. I also have kind of interspersed some hidden Mickey pins and Tiny Kingdom pins in here. I always love to get pins to commemorate my favorite attractions. So I don't have a pin for every attraction, but I have ones for all of the ones that I really like. And then at the top, it kind of segues into attractions that are shared between Disneyland and Walt Disney World, continuing with just some more California Adventure on this side. And then it gets into like specifically Disney World pins up here at the top. I really want to ride the Skyliner someday. So yeah, just some more park-specific pins, Hollywood Studios, a little Epcot. And then I've been able to add quite a lot to my Disney World Tomorrowland pin collection, a number of cool Carousel of Progress pins, and my People Mover pins and Sunny Eclipse. And then on our right side, I have Tower of Terror pins. I love Tower of Terror so much. I do also love Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. I think Mission Breakout is a more fun ride, but Tower of Terror is overall a better attraction. So quite a lot of these are actually open edition pins since they make a lot of really cool OE pins for Tower of Terror. And the most recent ones that I have are from these new sets. They really have this interesting kind of like Art Nouveau style to them. Definitely a kind of nice change and different aesthetic than you often see in tower pins. And then these two are here because I don't really have any other better place to fit them because they're a mixture of like attractions and then geology. These are my two pins that feature the Disneyland petrified tree. Most people know my bugaboo with that because Disneyland does not know the actual age of the tree. They always think it's older than it really is. It's 34 million years old, but these were other totally Emily must-haves. I then have this medium-sized pin board on top, and it is a kind of mixture of a few things. Some resort, some pin trading, some kind of themed to myself, and then also quite a lot of Minnie and Mickey pins. So I have my little collection of pins for all of the resorts that I've stayed at, and then I also have year pins for when I've been to Disneyland. I unfortunately couldn't add my 2020 pin to here because didn't get to go. But then right above that, I have my little collection of pin trading meta pins. So I think those are really fun and funny. You know, pins about pins. And then pins more themed to myself. Hey, happy birthday, November 19th. Love to craft baseball state pins. Then there's a lot of paired like hidden Mickey pins or just paired Minnie and Mickey pins. Just a little assortment there. Some kind of like classic animation and Walt. Love that hidden Mickey set. I did put my Minnie Mouse the Main Attraction pin set up here, mainly because I only kind of had room there. But otherwise, just some more super cute Minnie and Mickey pins. So out of the Fab Five, I definitely really like to collect Minnie and Mickey, preferably when they're in matching sets. Now moving on to my sweets and snacks pin board, which has gotten pretty filled up, but I think I might be able to kind of, condense things, move things together and make a little bit more space. So I do have a number of the other Disney Scents Scratch and Sniff pins on here. I was planning on collecting this whole set because I thought they were all going to be like foodie themed, but then they weren't. So I'm just kind of getting any of the ones that are foodie related, putting them on this board. I've got a number of the Tiny Kingdom food pins. Spread throughout here, I have quite a lot of little hidden Mickey pins. I mainly love anything that is kind of like sweets and snacks related. I'm not so much into the totally savory foods, but I love all these pins. They go perfectly with my aesthetic for my confectioneer shop. Do also have a few fantasy pins on here. But these are some of the pins that I really like to bring with me in the park to show off because they're super cute, but then they're also not ones that I'm like totally worried about what's gonna happen to them. Are they gonna get damaged? So that there again is all of my sweets and snacks pins. We now move over here to pin boards on the right side, and this is kind of like my total miscellaneous pin board. I do have a little like kitty cat collection. I like these pins of Marie because they remind me of our kitty Micah. Micah does not look like Marie, but she is a very sassy lady. Some random Disney Channel pins, Indiana Jones, Brave Little Toaster, a few Big Hero 6 pins. So this is kind of where a pin goes if it doesn't really fit into any of my other collections. Then below this board is a kind of complex mixture of pins. So these have a number of smaller collections all together. At the very bottom, we have my Pandora wall of Avatar pins. I still have not ever yet been able to visit Pandora, but I loved the aesthetics of the land so much, and so many of the pins kind of fit in nicely to my geology pin collection, which is right above that. So I try to get any pin that kind of loosely is related to geology, earth science, natural history, and I've kind of surprisingly been able to amass a pretty decent collection here. This is my most recent pin in this collection. I showed this in a pin mail video from Tokyo Disney Sea. A volcano erupting Mickey heads, just the absolute coolest. So it's not the most common to be able to find pins that I can fit into this collection, but it's always exciting when I can find something that's like, hey, yeah, that works for my geology pin collection, the kind of most niche one that I have. But above that, I have my little Moana pin collection. Moana is kind of like my Frozen pin collection, where it's not something that I truly actively collect, but when I see a pin that I like, I do try to add it. So just an assortment of pins here, some authentic, some fantasy. I think that Hey Hey What's Up Coconut from the Disney Scents is my most recent pin in this collection. I also love the little Moana animator doll, and I have the set of Kakamora hidden Mickeys there. Right above that, I have my even smaller Lilo and Stitch pin collection. I know Stitch is a huge character to collect, but I will only occasionally get pins that I really like. I know I've kind of like cleared out this collection a little bit, and I've only saved the ones that I really like, but the ones that I still do have are ones that I think I will always keep because they are awesome. And then pins in the very top here, this is kind of my princess section, so we have some Beauty and the Beast pins there. And then only a very, very small collection of general princesses. So I'm not really big on collecting princesses. This is kind of the extent of what I have, I guess, in addition to Anna and Elsa. Then we have my final pin board, but not the last of the pins to show here. And this is the most recent pin board that I had to put up because I had too many pins that needed a new home. So in this top portion is my collection of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge pins. I love the Land Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So these are all pins that are specifically focused on the land itself, or Black Spire Outpost or Batuu. Kind of have a little bit of attraction pins there. But the newest pin in this collection would be this pin, which was from a D23 Gold Member exclusive set. Probably one of my favorite Galaxy's Edge pins. So I still don't collect Star Wars, I'm just kind of specifically Galaxy's Edge in that sense. But I guess the other Star Wars that I do collect is specifically restricted to the Mandalorian, mainly focused on Baby Yoda or the child. I'm kind of particular about the pins that I get and add. A good number of these pins are fantasy pins. I feel like a lot of the pins that they've come out with look very cheap. I don't really like the artwork style of them. These are ones that I think capture nicely the essence of Baby Yoda and look good and are of decent quality. So I'm sure I'll be able to add more pins to this set. And then these guys are just kind of randomly hung up here because I didn't have any other space. This is my authentic set of Shanghai Disneyland grand opening pins. These are LE300. These are some of the currently most heavily faked pins. So it was so exciting to be able to find actual authentic versions of these. What I do want to hunt down are the fake counterparts so I can again do a little bit of side by side. Then lastly, not on a pin board, are my seasonal holiday pins. So I have not put my Christmas pins on display yet, although I'm probably going to do that shortly after this. So I do not display my holiday pins year round, but it is always very exciting when it comes to that time of year when I can take out my holiday pins and it's like some little fun extra decoration. I love so many of these Christmas pins. Last year, I really liked the designs of kind of like this homey farm Christmas with like Mickey and a little scarf on it. Last year, that's when they also had Christmas Tiny Kingdom pins. Then I just have one more page of Christmas pins. Absolutely loved that hot cocoa set and was obsessed with this 6-pin set of Disney snacks. And then I have only gotten 3 pins that have been released in 2020. This 2020 dated pin is the Disney Store Toys for Tots pin. I've gotten them every year since 2017, so I wanted to keep that up. A super sparkly gingerbread from the parks, and then a little Mickey as Santa. And then last but not least, I have all of my Halloween pins. So these were all shown recently in a Halloween Disney pin display. But I still love these pins that came out in 2020. The colors are so pretty and beautiful on them. And then just a few other remaining stragglers on this back page. I hope you enjoyed that look at my entire Disney pin collection. I think it's really fun to watch these videos year to year and see how your kind of collections grow and change. I am getting pretty close to having just an entire wall full of like corkboard and pins, but it's what I like to collect and they're all like little mini pieces of artwork. But thanks for watching!